here, Tim Stewart, and Tim, as I explained to you, has served in the Army, has had hundreds of people that he has had to manage. He has also been his own boss. He's run several small businesses. He's an active member of the chamber, and some of you, or I know George has heard of him before. Tim is the most popular speaker I've ever come in. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. You are. I have people that, remember I just had a student that you talked to last year, not last semester. Well, but he came up to me and asked me for Tim's information, because one of the things that Tim talks about and offers, especially those of you that really are looking at starting a small business, because he's active in the business world, be more than glad to help get you started with the chambers, answer any questions that you have. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Stewart. Come on, people, I know it's early.
Do I need to bring everybody up front here so they get involved? I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your flagpole's leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you have hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." So I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, it got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware, and it got powder burned the night Francis Scott Key said, 'Watching it writing.' Oh, say, can you see? It got a bad rip down in New Orleans with Packingham and Jackson tugging at the seams, and she almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on through. She got cut by a sword at Chancellorsville. She got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and a south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. Flanders Field in World War I, she took a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low before that was through. She was in Korea and Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved over our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit waving her back here at home. In her own good land, she's been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused, and the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. She's getting threadbare and wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in, because she's been through the fire before, and I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up right. On second thought, I do like to brag, because I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag. And that's why I choose to pledge allegiance to the flag of these United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all. For every human being who's ever set foot on the soil of the United States of America, that flag represents liberty and justice for all. But more than that, it represents the hundreds of thousands, even millions of Americans who gave their life, their limb, their liberty, their sanity to make this and keep this the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And I'm proud to have been born in the great state of Nebraska. I'm proud to have lived in Georgia, Colorado, Nebraska, Texas, and over half my life right here in Illinois. But beyond all of that, so far beyond all of that, if all the things were gone I've worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children in my life, well, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, because that flag still stands for freedom. They can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men and women who died to give that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. There ain't no doubt. I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Nebraska, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, there is pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men and women who died to give that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, because there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. You know, I get that things going with that right at the beginning to let you know who I am. I spent 21 years between the active Army and Illinois Army National Guard as a military policeman on active duty. My first assignment in the National Guard when I came back in, it was an infantry unit, and I told them I spent my first 3 years arresting these guys. I don't think I want to be one of them. And so I became the company medic. I said, I'll fix them when they break. And then they had a speech on OCS, and I got excited. I went to the officer candidate school, and throughout the course of today I'll share a couple of stories of what happened during that time. But right now, I'm going to take the hat off because the podium's over. Gotta get a little warm. Who knows how warm I'll get before the day's over. I'm standing here today because Martin Rodert intercepted a football in 1972. Now, how can I say that with any degree of accuracy that some kid intercepted a football in 1972 in Arnold, Nebraska, and because of that, I'm standing here. Well, on that night, I was his defensive end. And as he intercepted that football, I turned to throw a block. But someone who had been blocking me on the side went straight through my knee, and they said I'd never play football again. I was heartbroken. The scouts who had been at that game hung their head as they drove away, and they carried me off in an ambulance. I did play football before the season was out. I got the leg back in pretty good shape, but not at the level I was. I was an all-state receiver my junior year, and so I had some designs on college football, maybe beyond. Those were gone. By December of 1972, I was in a funk. I just didn't know where I was going with my life. My friend Todd Chesmore knew where he was going. He was joining the Army. So he asked if I'd ride along, and I said sure, and he went down. He was signing the paperwork, and I was sitting over in a waiting area over here, and I saw this pamphlet. And this pamphlet said, Fitzsimmons Army Medical Center is the orthopedic center of the United States Army. I thought for a second. Now, my dad was a farmer. He couldn't afford to get my knee fixed. But if I could get stationed here, I bet I could get my knee fixed, and I could go play football. So I shouted across the room. I said, hey, sir. I'm from Nebraska. We recognized our elders. I said, hey, sir, can I get stationed here? He said, son, you signed this contract. I'll put you anywhere. I signed that contract. I passed the physical. They looked at this knee instead of that one. I don't know how that happened. I became a military policeman. I got stationed at Fitzsimmons Army Medical Center, Denver, Colorado. My first day on duty, singular focus. My first day on duty, I went up to the 5th floor of that hospital to check out the orthopedic clinic. And I'll never forget, as that elevator door opened up, there in that reception window sat this cute little red-headed angel. And I thought, if I get to know her, cheerleader, I figure out who fixes my knee, and I go play football. To make a long story short, because we don't have that much time, they never touched my knee. And on April 11th, I'll be married to her for 37 years. She got out of the Army. She brought me back here to Illinois, so I'm standing here today because Martin Rodert intercepted a football in 1972. Every action we take, every decision we make has future implications. Let me give you one more example to talk about the strength of this before I go into leadership. I was walking down the sidewalk in McHenry, Texas, second week in November of this past year. And a little girl sitting there smoking a cigarette. Slender little thing, 18, 19 years old, on break from PetSmart. I said, "Hon, can I ask you a question?" And she said, "Yes, sir." I said, "You going to get married someday?" She said, "Yes, I am." I said, "You going to have a family?" She got a little smile. She said, "Yes, I am." I said, "You're going to have babies?" She got a bigger smile. She said, "Yes, you like babies?" She got a real big smile. I said, "You're going to take your hand, thrust it into that baby's belly button, grab onto her intestines, and shake them so hard she'll have a pain she'll carry with her the rest of her life?" She said, "No, I'm not going to do that." So let me tell you how I felt as I watched my mom die from lung cancer. A cancer that began when at the age of 17, she said, "I'm not hurting anybody but myself. You leave me alone." On that day, she created a pain I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And I tell you that right now, you're creating that pain for your unborn child. She threw that cigarette right now. This look of fear in her face. I said, "What are you going to do with that pack?" She said, "My friend smokes the same ones." I said, "Really? You're going to cause all this pain for her child?" And she said, I guess I should throw them away, huh, sir? And I said, well, hon, I can't tell you what to do. As I walk away, you may even light up a cigarette and think what a strange individual that was. However, I do know this, you'll never be able to smoke a cigarette again without picturing the pain on the face of your unborn child from the man you haven't even met yet. As I walk away, if she does quit smoking, she does lead a healthier lifestyle, and cancer isn't what takes her early from this life. Do you know why that happened? It's simple. Because Martin Ritter intercepted a football in 1972. Throughout my time in the military, I learned a lot. When I got to the officer candidate school, what I found out was what I really didn't know. What I didn't know about leadership. I took that, and later on, after I graduated from the officer candidate school, I wrote a program that I took to junior high schools and high schools. That's where this program started. And the core of this program, as Sherry will tell you, hasn't really changed since probably about 1989. See, leadership, like the Army's definition, FM 105, 100-5. At that time, it's changed some since then, but at that time, the definition of leadership was leadership is the ability to influence your subordinates to complete an assigned task with minimal supervision. Minimal supervision, United States Army? Help me out here. How does that apply? How many times did you have to be told to do something? A lot. By the time you learned the consequences, how many times did you have to be told to do something? Right, because you were on your own. Minimal supervision is an important part because leadership takes supervision really out of the mix. You're there, you're responsible, but if you've trained your unit accordingly and appropriately, you know, as a scout unit, when we moved, you knew exactly what each other was doing. You never spoke. Everything was hand signals. I could use some of them, but they're, and later on maybe I will, just to show. But the point was, I rewrote the definition. Leadership is the ability to influence someone to do something positive. Leadership is the ability to influence someone to do something positive. Are there negative leaders? Who said that? You are wrong. You are so wrong. There are bleeders. And the difference between a leader and a bleeder is this. A leader will take your hand and pull you up to his or her level. A bleeder will only take your hand to pull you down with them as they are falling. A leader will point the definition of success out to you, even if it means propelling you on beyond their own station in life. A bleeder will only point to deflect blame from themselves. It's his pot, not mine. A leader will give you everything he or she has to make you successful. A bleeder will take everything you have and then leave you drowning in your own blood. This is where we could talk about Illinois leadership and politics, but we just won't go there. Leadership is the ability to influence someone to do something positive. Besides the word positive, there are two words that are going to help us understand that definition. What are they? Influence and ability. Very good. Let's talk about the first one. Who can define ability for me? What is ability? You're Merriam-Webster, you're writing the first dictionary, you got this word ability. How would you define it?
Be the capacity to perform something else.
How about this? Able to do something. Ability. Do we have any basketball players in here? Oh, I saw that hand flinch. Are you a basketball player?
No, he is.
No? He is? Come on up. Come on up. Do I have anyone who hates the game of basketball, thinks it's the dumbest thing on the planet, and would not want to be involved with it? It's the last thing on the earth. I need someone who doesn't like the game, is horrible at it. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. We only have so much time. Am I going to have to pick on Sherry?
Yes.
I like that.
But
I
are you
like
good at it?
baseball. No, I'm not good at it. I'm too short.
Let's slide over just a little bit here so we can...
Don't hit me.
Okay, what I'm going to ask Sherry to do is a series of tasks. I'm going to ask her to pass the ball around her body, around her head, dribble it between her legs, and then show me her best move.
Alright.
Best crossover.
Alright.
Around the
Around
ball.
my body.
Very good.
Around my head, dribble.
Okay. Some
And-
girls get away with that.
And then what was the other part?
We're okay. But you do the same things.
Oh, that's how you do
Around the
it.
head. figure eight between the legs. Actually, figure eight pass between the legs. And now show me your best dribbling skills. Give me the move, give me the move. Crossover. Very good. There we go. Love it. Okay. Now, by show of hands, let's use applause. Who has the ability to play basketball? Let's talk about the difference, because this is where you're all wrong. We all have the ability to play basketball. He has taken and has chosen to take his ability and turn it into a talent. How did he do that? Practice, practice, practice. I coached basketball for 17 years. Today, I still play 3 days a week at Marion Central. I just got back from Texas, where I had the opportunity. Some guys invited me to play, talking smack, and the one guy worked at Sam's Club. The rest of the kids I went down to, this was real tough. No street lights, bars on the windows, kind of tight neighborhood. Had some serious fun, but it's a cement court. I hadn't played in a long time on a cement court, so my first time out I couldn't back up my talk. I have a video to prove what happened later on. I won't play it tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help. Leadership is an ability. Just like basketball is an ability, computers are an ability, teaching is an ability. It can be learned with practice. There's an old saying, is a leader made or is a leader born? Well, there are certain things along the scope that everyone can develop leadership. Now, well, leadership is an ability. What was that second word? Influence. What is influence? And it is not something you drive under on a Friday night. One of my best responses, thank you very much. What is influence? What's influence?
Influence is what you just, I don't know how to describe it. It's something that maybe people get affected.
One of the best definitions that I like is convincing people, using power to convince someone to do something. Let's see if that fits in the definition. Leadership is the ability to use power to convince someone to do something. There are 4 powers that we're going to talk about this morning that allow you to convince someone to do something. What are they? That was almost a hand up. What's one of the powers that allow you to convince someone to do something?
Authority?
Position. Position is one of the powers. My position as a scout platoon leader, would you do what I told you to do? Without a question, as long as it was a legal order. Yeah. Legal order. So, in my position as a plant manager, I told people when to come to work, when they could go home, how much money they would make, when they could work overtime, when they're not going to work overtime. I had a lot of power. When that plant shut down, how much power did I have? Where are the unemployment line? Do you think they'd let me go to the front? Or keep kicking me to the back, right? Especially if I had abused that power over time. So, while it's a power, it's only good as long as you have the position. What's the second power? Did you say money? Who said it? You did. Oh, you did that. Money. Absolutely. Is money a power? Let's give it the test. Will money allow you to convince the auto mechanic to repair your car? The grocer to give you food? Can you do those things without money? Sure you can. It's called a credit card. That's one of the reasons this country's in the... So again, it's a power, but only as good as long as you have it. What's the third power? And the most fickle power of all. What do you think it is?
It's a third.
It's called respect. If you respect someone, and they're doing the thing that you want to become, you're going to watch them, learn from them, they're going to influence you. How long does it take to build respect? How long does it take to lose it? One misplaced hand, it's gone. Right? The fourth power. What's that fourth power? And this is the base of all power. This is the root. This is what you are here sitting in this classroom for. Knowledge. Knowledge is the base of all power. And unlike the other 3, you can never lose it. Barring drugs, accident, or illness, you can never lose it. In 1983, guy and his wife had to file bankruptcy. Lost their home, lost their rental property, lost their cars, eventually lost their job because he couldn't get to the work on time. Didn't lose his knowledge. Went back to school. Matter of fact, I remember distinctly my first time down those stairs over there, because you see, my wife and I in 1983 lost everything. We were going to become real estate landlords. We'll talk about that. If any of you have that dream in mind, history repeats itself. My son, who just got promoted and sent to Dallas, Texas, put his townhome up here for rent to move to Texas and buy a house. I said, don't do it. Sell it. Don't do it. Sell it. This was right before everything went down. And last week, my son just filed bankruptcy. Scary stuff. I'm not saying it always happens. A lot of people, look at Trump. You know, Trump's made millions on it. He's a jerk, though. Could I be a jerk if I had millions? I guess. I don't think I would be, but it'd be fun finding out. So power allows you to convince people to get people to do things. How many people do you influence in any given day? A lot. Let's define. How many people do you think you influence in any given day?
If I'm at school, 25. If I'm at work, probably close to 50, 60.
What type of work do you do?
I work at a restaurant.
You can influence a lot of people. As long as you wash your hands all the time, you influence them in a good way, right?
Yes.
Perfect. What's your name?
Zach.
Zach. That's who you sent me the file on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought so. You see, Zach, when he was in 8th grade, he woke up every morning with a bad attitude. It shows by his hat. He woke up with a bad attitude. And every morning, when he got to school, he'd have to find 2 7th graders and beat him up to feel better about himself. How many people has he influenced? A couple is 2. But those 7th graders, seeing what it took Zach to feel better, each one found a couple of 6th graders so they could feel better about themselves. How many people has he now influenced? Who's my mathematician? 6. You're cheating. You've been here before.
2, 4, 4, 2, 6.
2 6th graders, 2 7th graders, 4 6th graders. Now the 6th graders found 5th graders, who found 4th graders, we're up in Hebron, who found 3rd graders, are all in one building, who found 2nd graders and 1st graders. How many 1st graders have been influenced because Zach woke up with a bad attitude? Let's do the math. 2 7th graders, 4 6th graders, 8 5th graders, 16 4th graders, 32 2nd graders, 3rd graders, 64 2nd graders, 128 1st graders are having a bad day because he influenced 2 people. But there's 126 along the way, which equals 254, which means that the police now have to get called in because it's a full-scale riot. And the schools shut down. The parents all have to come in and get their kids, so they have to stop working. The entire community is shut down because he only touched the lives of 2 people. That's why they don't stop. Zach, become a Cubs fan, we can change all of that. Can we change the world? I believe we can. But so often, as we're walking down the street, and we see someone, the most we're doing is nodding, How many people in here have driven by someone changing a flat tire? How many people have had the opportunity to give someone a hand with something, but you're in too big of a hurry, and you move on by? I'm here to say that we could change the world. Change the world, starting right here in McHenry County, if every Monday morning we would make a goal to say, I want to influence 2 people in such a happy way today that they're going to want to influence someone else. By next Monday, how many lives would you have touched? 254. The math doesn't change. But you have to be willing to step outside that box. Now up here in Illinois, we're a lot of cynicism up here, isn't there? You know, everybody's out to get something. I can't talk to him. He's going to want something from me. He's going to want some of my time. He's going to want some of my money. You know, he's going to take something from me. He's going to rob me. And we live with that, and that's a shame. Because most of the people in this world are really, 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 really good people. And there's a few boneheads out there messing it up for everybody else. Am I wrong in that? It's very true. Now, influence is a powerful thing. As you said, a kid from a year and a half ago in a class remembered me and wanted to reach out, but I have one better. I got an email from a young man I coached in junior high school. And he said, Coach Stewart, I hope you will accept my apology. When I was in 7th grade, you told some story about a duck call. And I chose to make some smart aleck comment instead of learning from the lesson. And he says, it bothered me that day and it's bothered me ever since. He said, I do hope that you'll accept my apology. He was 29 years old when he sent me that email. I had been having a bad day. And I got this email. So the seed I planted 14 years ago came to fruition and came back to me and reminded me why I do what I do. It's, guys, every action we take, every decision we make has future implications. What do we practice? We talk about practicing basketball, to be a better basketball player, to be a better teacher. But what do you practice to be a better leader? We're going to work on this one right now. You need everyone to make a circle with your thumb and forefinger, just like that. You sir, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, everyone else, eyes up here. Take that circle.
I know it.
But you can play. Put it on your chin. Don't move. Don't move. Get up. Right back up there. Yeah. You guys keep it right there too. All of you. Get it right back there. I saw it. Would you tell me why you put that circle on your chin, sir? I told you to. Turn around. Look around. Why do they all have it up on their cheeks? I told them to too. I used the same exact words. You know, there wasn't a translation problem here. I used English. I said, put it on your chin, but y'all put it up on your... You're just getting it too. Well, why?
Because you said put it in, but you...
But I didn't do what I said. And leadership is all about setting a positive example. People will follow what you do long before they follow what you say. If you learn nothing else from today, write that down. In the 11 leadership principles, that is leadership principle number 5 out of that. 105. I probably am. And that's okay, because it just emphasizes what I'm trying to say. There's a whole lot to be learned about leadership. But in that one simple little demonstration, it says everything you need to know. Leadership is not difficult. It's simple. Leading a life of leadership is hard. It's very hard. Because you have to make good decisions. And you have to carry out on those decisions. I get done with this classroom, and maybe at some point I've talked about drugs and alcohol being bad things. I did talk a little bit about cigarettes. Kind of like a drug. But I walk out and get in my car, and it's been so stressful, I pop a beer and light a joint before I drive away. What are you more likely to do?
Not listen to you.
Not listen to me. You're going to do it. Less than 7% of communication is verbal. Actually, 7%. 38% of communication happens by voice and tone and fluctuation, and 55% of all communication is by body language or actions. Here is a very simple test for those of you who are parents, are going to be parents, going to be grandparents. Look them in the eyes and say, what were you doing? If their eyes go up and to the left, what are they accessing? The right brain. They're creating a story. Now, if they go down and to the left, it doesn't mean the same thing. It's up and to the left, because access is up and to the left. The eyes can go anywhere, but once they go up to the left, they're fabricating a story. If they go up and to the right, They're accessing memory. Try not to do this. But tell me a name that is not your own.
Dave.
Dave? Dave, tell me your job. That's not your job.
Mailman.
Very good. Tell me a book that you would like to write that will influence the lives of the entire world. Oh, they went up into the limit right there. Okay? Test, proven, he's just like... It's true, it works. I was talking to 4-H the other night over here about McHenry County 4-H kids, and I talked to them about this, and I told them this, and the little girl she was just like, I'm not gonna take my eyes off of you. You know, and so I asked this question. I went into the book about the rest of the world where you really have to think of something, and bam. She's like, oh, I says, all right, guys, tell your parents the truth, because the parents are in the back of the room. They get it too. Now, at this point, I want to talk about relationships just a little bit. As you enter into a relationship, it doesn't matter if it's client-vendor relationship, employee-supervisor relationship, boy-girl relationship. As you enter into that relationship, how do you go into it? Do you go into it just like a bull in a china shop? Or you see this person that you really want to hang out with? That's right, you know, you take hours getting ready. Even us. My wife's like, what's singing a song? I said, I'm combing my hair. And I did that today because I knew I was coming in. I knew I hadn't seen most of you before. So I got dressed up a little bit. Now I'm pretty proud of my bowls. They're doing a good job this year, so I picked up my bowls tie. And I picked up the pinstripes because pinstripe talks about what? Success. Do you know you can tell everything about success from the ham and egg sandwich? You really can. There are two animals involved in that sandwich. The chicken and the pig. The chicken's involved. The pig is committed. You want to be successful, be a pig. So, but at this point, as we've kind of built our relationship a little bit, I already took my hat off, I'm getting warm. Do you mind if I take my jacket off? Because you're going to find out that I've been standing up here all morning in this ripped up shirt with my shirt. We carry these facades, these masks. We wear them all the time. We try to make everybody think that everything is all right in our world, when in reality, it's not. The first day you stepped into college, what were your thoughts? All right, I'm going to college, I'm going to get my career, everything is lining up, the stars and the moon and everything's lining up, and everything's going to be right when I get out of college. How many of you thought that? How many of you came into college and went, crap? Why am I doing this again? I got my bachelor's degree at the age of 44. I took my first trip into MCC. I graduated right here from MCC. And eventually Columbia College was at that time co-located here. So I got my 4-year degree right through here. So at 44, I was the ultimate slow learner. I didn't know where I was going with it. In the meantime, just to give a little bit of history behind what Sherry had said, my first 3 years out of the Army, you don't have any confusion coming out of the Army, do you? Trying to find a job, trying to find stability. My first 4 years coming out of the Army, I had 13 different jobs. I pumped gas, I delivered the Tribune at night. Anybody do the Tribune routes at night? Yeah? You know that stuff?
It's not night, it's morning.
Well, I did the 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I filled all the machines, delivered to houses, spotlighting people's houses, people reporting me to the police because I'm spotlighting their house. What else did I do? I sold Filter Queen vacuum cleaners door to door. That was a riot. Here, you get these steak knives just for looking at this. Eventually, I settled at Morton International. Even when I got that job, now I'd gone to college a little bit, and I took a couple electrical classes, and they were looking for an electrician. So when the guys interviewed me, I knew Ohm's Law. And I talked about Ohm's Law. And he hired me as an electrician. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I'd never bent a pipe, I'd never pulled a wire, I'd never connected as much as, you know, on the farm I'd done a little bit. But I didn't have a clue. But I needed a job really, really bad. I was there for 15 years. All these other jobs that I thought were the right job. At 10 years, I moved into management. Take a second look. It's a trap. No, I'm kidding. When you go into management, that influence thing becomes real. Because you influence people's lives. And you have to be somebody responsible Because you have to realize, I had one employee, and I'll never forget her, Colette. You've all been around somebody who's just absolutely perfect. Everything they do just shines. You know, where you're struggling just to get ahead, they're just like, phew. This was Colette. I mean, everything she touched turned to gold. So on her first review, and this is my first real introduction to corporate review process. Has anyone ever had a review, an annual review? Yeah, obviously we did. She was amazing. And so I said, this woman is amazing. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Picket fence, right down, right all on this side. HR called me back and said, you cannot rate her like this. I said, what do you mean I can't rate her like this? She's that good. He said, we don't care. If you rate her like this, we'll have to give her this raise. And we can't give her that much of a raise. Then why do you tie that raise to that? Because, well, you know, so it looks like it's there. So really, you're telling me this? She goes, yeah, you have to downgrade her on this and this. I said, I can't. Those are her strengths. Well, downgrade her here and here. I can't. I'm telling you, come down and watch her work. They said, no. You either do that or we want a full sheet explaining on every category why she's so wonderful. She was so wonderful that I took the time, it took me hours to write a full sheet on each of her, worse than her homeworks. And then they still said, we can't give her that raise. They said, why not? She deserves it. Well, it's not in the budget. I don't care. This is where we've gone in this world. I mean, I hate to really, I don't want to get political in here. But let's look at what the state has done. Right? People are making less money. Unemployment's higher than ever. The state is making less money. So what does the state do? Do they provide more jobs? Has anyone seen more jobs coming out of Illinois? No. Do they provide more assistance and help? No. What do? They raise taxes. We are the highest corporate tax in the world, in the state of Illinois. We're one of the highest personal income tax. Their answer is, we got to take more money from those who are losing. Folks, that's not real. When we lose sight of people, we lose sight of life, and that's what leadership is all about. It's all about people. Management is a position. Management is a chair with a placard. Leadership is a philosophy. Who can be the best and the strongest leader in any organization? Anyone. I've seen it where it was a janitor. Because through his example of hard work and determination, he accomplished this thing. Last Sunday we were at the Knights of Columbus spaghetti dinner. And we went through the whole spaghetti dinner and everybody's serving and everything's cool and everybody's helping out. Spaghetti dinner got over, everybody ditches. There's like myself, the Grand Knight, Jim, and one other guy picking up, picture all these tables with chairs on both sides, all the tables, all the chairs, cleaning all the kitchen from cooking spaghetti, sausage, meatballs, all of that. And Jim has Parkinson's disease. And I look over, and I'm working just as fast as I can. And I look over in the stackable chairs. He's on the 8th high stackable chair in his Parkinson's. And he's sitting there like this. And I look, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm running over, and I go, Jim. He goes, yeah, I need to sit down. And I go, Jim, stop. Just stop. Just let go. It'll fall. I don't care if it falls. You know, and I got him away, and I set him down. I go, what are you doing? He said, well, everybody left. I was so angry. Then I'm like, oh, this is a Christian place. I'm not supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to forgive them for leaving, but I'm going to forgive them with some wrath when we have our next meeting. Because
our next meeting.
that was just wrong. Because the job isn't over until the paperwork's done, until the cleanup's done. And that's one of the things about leadership. The leader will always be there. The leader will be there first in the morning, last at night.
I knew you were going to.
Does your platoon leader have to dig his own fighting position? Does your company commander dig his own fighting? Does your colonel? Yeah, no, the colonel doesn't. But the colonel did it as a second lieutenant. He doesn't have to. He may choose to as a leader. But the colonel doesn't have to. And actually, the company commander doesn't have to. And actually, the platoon leader doesn't have to. But as a leader, that's the first thing that they can do. Even if they throw the first 5 shovelfuls and they get called away on a mission or on an op order, he has shown them that this is this thing. One of my favorite demonstrations for this at the Officer Candidate School is while the officer candidates were in class all day, we'd take this 1-inch garden hose and run it into this little low grassy area so that the water in the mud got about 3 inches thick. And in their spit shine uniforms, or press uniforms with spit shine boots, we would have low crawl races. But we would take that one candidate who nothing ever goes wrong for, that his things always shine, and he's, you know who it is. You know who it is in this class probably. We would take him and we'd put him on a pedestal. And we'd sit him down in his nice shine, and if, you know, we'd get him coffee, lemonade, and he was the judge. Right? So we had this all scripted out. So, and Mark had said go, and Mark had said go, and Mark had said go. So he's up here telling all of his classmates to go through the mud. We get to a winning group. We get those. So they've gone through this like 6 times. Their boots that they have worked hours on are now destroyed. We have our after-action review. Well, how did that make you feel? The new touchy-feely Army, how did that make you feel? Well, sir, it just wasn't right, and you know, Genova was the one that comes to mind. As Genova graduated from OCS, behind closed doors, we voted him the most likely to become a corrupt politician. Look up the name Genova and Cicero, the youngest mayor in Cicero history. And I turned on the news one night and they're taking him out of handcuffs for accepting bribes from something. And I called my officers that we were in charge. I said, you gotta check out this news. He became a corrupt politician. Genova. He was the one we set up there. And then the candidates were really some strong language coming out. He said, well, don't tell me anymore. Show me what you would like to do. So they now grab Genova, throw him in the mud pile. They dogpile on top of it. You know, we're having fun with it. And so then we have another after-action review. How did that feel? You know, well, it felt better. You know, our leader was just being stupid and we got even. Okay, that's one thing. Who was the winner of the low crawl races? And this one squad was like, we are bloody soldiers, we are people. We are, all right. Go line up. You've got one more challenge. And I told all my officers, let's go. Sir, really? We got to do this again. Yes, we did. We beat them in low crawl, through the mud, at their own game, and now had the official after-action review. It's one of the most strongest points we could make. You've got to know your leader is willing to do it. He doesn't have to do it all the time. Would you follow a leader who's got a marksman badge on, and you knew he had to try 4 or 5 times to get that? There's marksman, sharpshooter, expert. The expert has the oak leaf cluster around it. I want my leader to have that oak leaf at all times. Leadership is the ability to influence someone to do something positive. As we recap the things we talked about. I opened up obviously with some patriotic stuff. Ragged Old Flag was by Johnny Cash. The Pledge of Allegiance, it's been around a long time. Who knows who was the president when the words under God were put into it? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Dwight D. Eisenhower, driven by the Knights of Columbus, I think. What else are we talking about? Take your hands, put them like this. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, clap, and then you clap. Okay, 1, 2, 3, clap. You're still not listening to me. Oh my goodness, you did because you knew something was coming. And you did. But, however, leadership is setting a positive example. You follow the things that are done for you, not the words that are said to you. Now, as a leader, if you're saying and doing the same thing, then leadership is a very positive thing within your organization. Now, if I have said anything today that has changed your life, do you know why that happened?
Because of 1972.
Martin Roeder intercepted a football. Every action we take, every decision we make has future implications. And sometimes